Hey everybody, it's Ozark Prepper 1, and I told you I'd make a video. It's late. See, there's my light in the backyard, and it's pretty dark out. But it's almost 3 o'clock in the morning. I can hear the insects, some birds. We've got cats everywhere. You can't see anything because I can't see it through the screen. Let me take a look. Can't even see the sky tonight. I'm actually in my yard walking around. But one of the things I wanted to talk about was how much I love the nighttime. I love the stillness of the early morning hours. I love the peacefulness. I like how you can have farm animals or just your household pets. And if you notice, they're very still at this hour, if they're outdoors usually. If you have an animal indoors, sometimes they're wild. But this is something I could get used to. Most of the time we spend our time working, and we don't get to see a lot of this. You know, these nice cool temperatures at night, and these the peacefulness. A lot of people waste their time. They have a routine. I once had that routine when I was younger, to where you can't wait to get off on Friday so you can go run the bars until they close, thinking something's gonna magically be awesome from doing that. And from what I found, nothing ever happens from that. But you lose income every time you do that, and you lose a little piece of your health, even though you don't feel it then, because you're having a good time. But that's the trap, because if you continue to do that, you age faster. And if you're not blessed with the best of brains, you destroy what you have, what little you have. And it affects your decision making. It affects your emotions. So to where you're triggered by other people's words, where they may be just being sarcastic or joking, and you may take it serious because you've drowned yourself with alcohol so much. It removes that discernment. I wish you could see this, but it's not showing up. I don't know why. I don't know if something's on the screen or what. have no clue. Let me turn it this way and see. Still doesn't do it. Let me turn the flashlight on. We'll see what we got. Here. Cannot turn flashlight on. That's weird. Anyway, I guess you can hear my voice. Like I said, it picks up my light in the backyard. Not very good, but enough to see something. I drive around a lot during the week, and I cover around 500 miles. I go through subdivisions, and I see new subdivisions being built, and I see trouble on the rise, or in the distance, let's put it that way. It's already here, but every civilization has a climactic point. Where they reach critical mass, where things are no longer sustainable. There's no longer enough resources to fuel the population's thirst. People are brainwashed by their television and their phones and their computers, advertising, and they believe they should live in a perfect, clean subdivision with a house with 5 bedrooms and a basement and a 4-car garage. And they believe they should have that by age 25. And if you want to see how people are really supposed to live, you need to go back to the 1800s. There were some big homes back then, but most were not. And then go after World War II. Look at the homes that were built in the 1940s and 50s. Everything was based on practicality. Did I make up a new word? But they were based on being practical and efficient. There was usually a 2 or 3 bedroom home max, but they were small. They had a door in the front and they had a door in the back. Sometimes a door on the side. Most of the times there was no garage attached to the home, because most people park their old cars out in the driveway. Or they have an awning on the side of a building, a little shed or something. But all these people now, the only thing they know is perfectly clean floors, drywall, concrete, and carpet. They don't know what it's like to get their hands dirty. They don't know what it's like to be cut and have scars. They don't know what it's like to have broken bones. And they don't know what it's like to recover from all that. We have a soft generation. People around the world, in other nations, still live the rough life. Some don't, but many do. And they're aware. A lot of them are aware of how our people live. because they also have phones. But they laugh at us because they can see how brainwashed these people are with the entitlement they have in their minds, thinking they deserve all this stuff that they get, and they get it on loans. Or they're brainwashed to think that it's a righteous thing to do is to get a college degree and learn how to be some kind of a boss, an executive. And instead of being a leader, they want to be a boss. And the difference between that is a boss doesn't see you as an equal, they see you as exploitable. They want you to exert all your physical energy and take on all the stress while they sit back and manipulate, because that's what they're trained to do. Their whole training is manipulation and loopholes, how to avoid, not how to confront, not how to be proactive. They teach them how to be reactive. That's why nothing ever changes. At every workplace in the United States, let me change that. Every corporation, the ones cranking out the money, when a person switches from labor to management, they're not switching to just a higher position. They're moving into a social club. And that's not everybody. Several of the best people I've ever met were in management. But you also see the other types where they're just continually trying to move up the ladder, and in doing that, they're willing to step on anyone and discard anyone that gets in their way in the slightest. And there's been a lot of good people tossed to the side by people like that, and they didn't care that they wrecked that other person's life and their health. I've seen people lose their jobs and then they die a couple years later because they couldn't. The enormous amount of stress probably dumped on those people, considering they had bills at their home. They might have had medical bills, and they might have had a house payment or a car payment or something, and those little things get some people. I had a friend one time that he had all kinds of issues going on, but the one thing that set him over the edge to where he took himself out was he had a vehicle that was giving him problems, and he couldn't find anyone to help him fix it. And I think anyone would have helped him, but he wanted it fixed fast, and it stressed him out. That was the thing that made him make his decision. And think about how many people are like that. You don't know what made them do it, and it's usually something like that. It's the whole load, and then they have that one triggering event that makes them make their decision. I've been talking now for 14 minutes. But I would say, let's go back to the other thing I was talking about. The whole wasting your beautiful nights like this, your beautiful, peaceful hours, just drinking and mingling with strangers, when you could be mingling with friends and family, hanging out with friends and family, or just enjoying the peacefulness alone and with pets like I do pretty much. But I walked away from the alcohol thing about 18 or 20 years ago. And before that I was a pro. But I believe if I would have kept on doing what I was doing, I wouldn't be here now. And the only thing I ever saw when I used to run those bars and stuff was a bunch of seats full of sad people, desperate people. They've given up on life. And then you have your ones that show up around 11 o'clock at night, 11:30, and a lot of those people are information gatherers because they don't seem to be intoxicated, but they show up. And I paid attention to those things back when I used to run those places. And they would show up and start asking people questions and pretending to be just friendly. But they never stayed. They would take off and go to another place. And I think that's how a lot of our societies are controlled, our small towns and even the big cities. There's those people that slip in and out. Some of them were drug dealers, I'm sure. But there's a scam going on, no matter what you do. It's not bad to, I guess, if a person wants to blow off some steam every once in a while, but I wouldn't make a lifestyle choice out of it, especially if you're young. That's the trap when you're young, because you're thinking, wow, I'm going to go there and I'm going to have a good time, or I'm going to walk in there and find some supermodel and walk out of there. And that rarely happens. What usually happens is you drive home looking over your shoulder, hoping one of the system's money rangers don't pull you over. And it's best just to stay away from it and make the best version of yourself. And that doesn't mean nice house and new vehicle and all that. Just be a good, clean, decent human being. And you might be somebody else's foundation when they need it. Anyway, I've ranted for almost 20 minutes, so I'm going to get off of here and probably mess with some of these critters out here. So y'all have a great weekend. Ozark Prepper 1 out.